Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time for another edition of The Real World of Sales. The one show, the only show that talks to real people, really interesting people, really unusual things they're doing in their lives, and how they sell those things. Because if they could sell that, heck, we could sell anything. Right, Ashley?
Exactly, Paul.
So you bring the most eclectic group of people in Orange County. People, I don't know how you find them. I don't know where they come from, but every one of them, we consistently get a huge audience. People want to find out, what the heck are people really doing in this county, and how are they doing it? And today is no different, so bring us in.
Yes, definitely, Paul. That's right. We have an awesome show, and, there's just a lot people can, learn and enjoy here. And today we have another awesome guest. We have Mary Camarillo. She's an amazing author from Orange County. Welcome to the show, Mary.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And I'm going to have her move. Yep. I foolishly moved her blue water jug. Let's put it to the right of her there, back on the side there. Okay, because we don't want to block her books because she's an author. We got her books up here. Tell us the two books that you brought with you, and we're going to talk about those books and your journey to being an author.
Well, I have two novels. The first novel was published in 2021, and it's called The Lockhart Women. It's set in Huntington Beach, California, which is where I live. And it's set in the summer of, starts in the summer of 1994. Ashley, you're too young to remember this, but it starts on the night of the O.J. Simpson chase through Orange County, Southern California.
You'd be surprised. I do remember that.
And it's not about O.J. Simpson. It's about a woman whose life is falling apart. She's getting a divorce. She needs to find a job. Instead, she sits down and gets hooked on watching the O.J. trial.
Okay. I know some people that were like that, actually.
That was the social media of the time. We didn't have Google and Facebook and all the distractions we had. Now we had television. So
before Ashley and you go down this rabbit hole and start talking about your books and your journey, I just want to know, what did you do beforehand? How long have you been an author? What did you do beforehand? How'd you get there? Give us that quick journey of going from what you did to what you're doing now.
Okay, well, I'll start way back when I was a child. I was a voracious reader. In high school, I wrote poetry, edited the literary magazine, thought about being a journalist. Unfortunately, let a sour teacher dissuade me from that idea.
That happens to people. My son-in-law is a great artist, and he had a horrible art teacher, and he threw it all away. He just said, the guy told him you have no talent, and that was it.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's a regret, but I got out of high school and I went to Europe for a few months by myself with a Eurail pass, and I came home.
That's
and
fun.
It was the 70s. The economy was not so great then. A friend was applying for a job at the post office, so I applied, not thinking I was going to make a career out of it, but I started working at the post office in 1974 and worked my way up from sorting mail to working in the accounting office, to becoming an accounting supervisor. Went back to school, got my degree in business, transferred over to the Office of Inspector General.
I don't hear author in there.
Well, I was editing and writing a lot of audit reports. And that strangely gave me the idea that I should write fiction. And I think a real auditor would cringe at that, because they'd say audit reports are supposed to be true.
Yeah, not fiction. They're fact.
But they also tell stories. If you want anybody to read it, it's got to be interesting. And there are certain requirements for audit reports. You have to say what the condition is, like what's the bad thing that happened.
So you're like analyzing things. So you're kind of like, do you like analyze people around you, and you're like, oh, that'd be a cool book, like these like
neighbors and so why did this bad thing happen, and what's the reason, and who the heck cares? To me that's what makes a good story.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Like I was telling you before, I read different books. Like I like the Danielle Steele and Nora Roberts books, and your books remind me of those. It's real interesting. Do you have like a lot of women readers or guys too?
Well, my first novel, The Lockhart Women, is definitely women's fiction, and I think women read more books than men do, especially fiction.
Yeah.
My second book has got a little more diverse cast. It's got three men.
Those People Behind Us.
Those People Behind Us came out in October of last year.
Okay, awesome.
It's also set in a fictional coastal town called Wellington Beach, California, but it's definitely based on my neighborhood in Huntington Beach, California.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of my pandemic project. During the pandemic, my husband and I, the gyms were closed, so we walked our neighborhood. And we started making up stories about people in our neighborhood.
You started making up stories. Well, that lady that's always watering your lawn, I think she's really
Serial killer.
serial killer. Yeah, she's hiding something.
There was, I mean, there was all kinds of interesting flags flying in our neighborhood, and we're thinking, what does that mean? There was somebody playing drums pretty religiously, and we thought, who is that? There's neighbors that left their windows and garage door and doors to their house open pretty much 24/7. We
So
thought,
you can't hear what's going on. And stuff.
what the heck is going there? You know? So,
Yeah.
so I just started making up stories.
It's like those TV shows, you know, like Desperate Housewives and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a desperate housewife quality to it.
Okay. Do your neighbors know that they like inspired you to write your book?
Some of them do, yeah. Not all of them.
You just give them to them then.
So is this are you still with the post office? Did you retire?
No, I retired 12 years ago, and that's when I started writing fiction full time.
Yeah.
So this
that's
is the
great.
next act
Really nice.
career.
This is my next act, yeah. Yeah.
And all right, before we go too deep in it, because I know a little bit about this, we did a book publishing show for a number of years here with an indie book publisher. The world of book publishing has changed dramatically since
Yes.
I was around in the 70s and going to college. And once upon a time, there were real publishers who bought books, and they would give you an advance, small or large, and then they would give you a royalty off of whatever they sold. That seemed to be the traditional model. That model still exists, but mostly has gone away and replaced with self-publishing or some kind of hybrid thing where they help you market it and do other things with it, or real publishers, but you got to come up with the cost of printing the books, and you got to go out and hustle them and market them. We'll get them in some chains or on a site for you, but you got to do a lot of the effort here. The idea of just writing and then delivering it and somebody else does something with it and pays you seems to be gone.
Yeah, right. Like the original traditional method was first you found an agent, and then the agent would go and find you a publisher,
Right.
and then they'd give you a bunch of money, and you'd sit back and go, well, you were going to do all the marketing and all the publicity, and I'll just show up on Oprah's show, you know, and then I'll get a movie deal.
And I'll get a movie
Right.
deal, and I'll get a check periodically from you.
Yeah, well, I dreamed about that path. I actually did try to get agents. I queried about 100 of them, and I got really good responses on my work. You know, good
Yeah,
story.
that's good.
But they said, we just don't think we can sell it.
I don't think
Did
they
they
know how to
say
sell
why, or-
anything.
No. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm an older author. I don't have a big platform. My
Wait,
first
is there like requirements in order for them to help people sell their book and stuff?
You got to have a big social media. They want to know not just it's a good book, but you got a following that's going to
Yeah.
buy this book because of your
my God.
you're an
Wow.
influencer. You got 10,000 people on.
That stuff is so
Well,
ridiculous. All that influencer stuff, you know, it's like people. I mean, you don't even know who is really there, you know, on the influencer list and stuff, you know, and it's like people can buy followers and stuff.
But I'm
on
telling
social
you, the
media,
publishers today don't just look at the quality of the work. They
Yeah.
look at the size of your market.
and there's only 5 of the
competitive.
big publishers left now.
Yeah.
They've all
Oh,
been
I see.
merging. So,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
it's a business. They want to make money. So they don't necessarily want to take a risk on someone if they don't know they can sell the book. So there's a self-publishing option, which my first book, that seemed like a lot of work, a lot of learning curve to figure out how to do that. So I started
Right.
investigating hybrid publishers, and I went with She Writes Press, which is a feminist press. Only
Shout out to
publishes.
them. Where are they at?
They're the publisher lives up in. It's not online. It's up in the cloud. You know.
Up in the cloud. Who knows who they are? But they do what? They help you design the book cover, and
Yeah.
they help you get the ISDN number, and they help you do
And
other
the
things.
great thing about a hybrid is, like with a traditional publisher, you don't always even get to pick the title of your book. You don't get to pick your
Oh,
cover.
that's a good point.
With the hybrid, you get a lot of input. I worked with the designer for both my covers, and I think they're both really beautiful.
Yes, they are. They're
they-
right here. Your books are right here.
They did the design for me. The big thing is they have traditional distribution, which means that my book can be in any bookstore. It could be at Target. You can order it from Barnes and
Okay.
Noble. It's available everywhere.
So your book is in the stores and online.
I'm not saying it's in every bookstore,
But it's
the
available.
store,
It could be. They
the
have.
store could order it
Okay.
for you. Yeah.
I see.
If
Oh,
somebody went
that's
into
cool.
Target and said, "I'm looking for this book," maybe not Target wouldn't, but some other retailer would. They'd say, "Okay, then we'll get that." Gee, we're getting enough requests
that's
for that.
really
We
neat.
should.
And that's
carry
not
it.
always the case with self-publishing.
Yeah.
Because bookstores are kind of a interesting dilemma too for an
Tough to get
author.
in there too.
Because bookstores can order 50 copies of your book. And then the next day they can send them all back.
Yes, exactly.
So you think,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
it's tough.
I sold 50 books, but then no, they're all going back, and now you have to pay for the return.
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
So
How do you sell your books then, Mary? Like, what kind of sales strategies are you using?
well, the first thing I did is I made friends with a lot of the local Orange County bookstore owners, and
Okay.
that has been extraordinarily helpful to me. There's Libro Mobile in Santa Ana. There's Bel Canto Books in Long Beach. There's the Bookman in Orange, and there's Arvita Books in Tustin. And just by going to bookstores and buying books from them and getting a relationship with the owner and then going to their events, you start getting a little network. So when my books launched, the Bookman in Orange hosted my first book event.
You did a book signing type
Did
of
a
thing?
book signing,
Okay.
had a talk
Yeah,
with,
that's so fun.
with a friend, and so
That's great.
that's
yeah.
that's one way. I also do some Amazon advertisement. I'm not really very good at Amazon.
Oh, you
Amazon
can pay for the ads there.
You can pay for it. Yeah, you have to figure
I've
out the
seen that.
market, and it's complicated. I have more luck with Facebook ads, so I do
Oh, okay.
Facebook ads.
Nice.
I have a newsletter that I send out every 2 or 3 weeks. I do a lot of giveaways in that newsletter.
You have a website?
I have a website.
Okay.
Yeah, the
What's your
website.
website?
It's marycamarillo.com. It's super easy to find.
And let's spell it. It's like the city, so spell Camarillo.
Camarillo,
Okay.
marycamarillo.com.
Nice.
So
That's
has
great.
it been everything you hoped it would be? You've got 2, so it must have been good enough the first time to do it again.
Yeah, I mean it's been more than I thought it would be. I was super naive with my first book. I really didn't know I was going to have to go out and talk about themes and
Yeah,
promote myself and
You got to hustle.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
hear over and over. It used to be you could be anonymous. I sat in a room, I wrote this, I delivered it. They did the marketing,
Yeah.
they did the push. And once in a while, maybe if it became successful, I went on an Oprah show or something. But most of the time it was them. Now it's mostly on your shoulders, I think.
right. And people, expect you to be able to talk about it and do an elevator pitch, and
Wow.
it's
I
But-
think it's just like so competitive now, though. There's just so many books, and everybody want to be an author. They think it's fun, and they want to write their own book. They can put it on Amazon, do it themselves. So it's like real saturated now.
yeah.
And so
Well,
it's like different.
I've done a little research on this. In 2022, for example, there were 4 million books published in the United States.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
The average book sale is 300 copies over the lifetime of the book.
Oh my goodness.
that's
4.
If you start adding in ebooks and audiobooks and foreign sales, then a book usually sells less than 1,000 copies over the lifetime.
So again, the
Yeah,
dream that you're
that's
going to
tough, for
sustain
sure.
yourself, you're going to be a working author, and this is your full-time gig. This is going to support you. For most people, is an illusion.
No, you're correct. I'm super fortunate. I have a wonderful pension.
Yeah, you
I'm
can't live off of
I'm
selling
not trying to make
books.
money on this. I'm
Yeah.
only doing it because I love it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that's great.
And it gives me a life that I think that's another big bonus that I didn't realize. I mean, I have so many author friends. I can support other people.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me to write blurbs for their books now. I'm
Oh,
always
that's
happy
so
to like
nice.
show
You
up
can
for
help them.
author readings.
Yeah.
It's a whole community. So I feel really lucky that I have this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is fun writing a book, and I have my sales book and Ferocious Sales Skills, which we're working on different ways people can buy it from the internet or whatever.
But a business book seems to have a different purpose. So Ashley has a business book, and we have a lot of people. We're mostly a business channel. For many, it's a marketing tool. It may not be a monetary tool. It may not be a way to make money. It's a way to show what you know and tell your story and your point of view, and then that leads to the talk. That leads to the consulting gig. That leads to clients. That leads to something. But But here, when you're doing fiction, you have to market yourself, but you're not selling them anything else but you.
Right. And the story.
Right.
Yeah, I think with a business book, you probably would have better luck with Amazon ads and Facebook ads because you have a platform behind that.
I have to try that. I haven't tried that yet, but I have to try that. But but it's different type of marketing. Mine is for like business salespeople. So it's a little bit kind of more, like kind of like less like market pool, there's less people and stuff. But I think for yours, it's like you can have anybody read it. Guys can buy it for their wives, their sisters, their, kids, whatever, their nieces. So yours, I think it's like at least you have that different type of like target market.
But can I push back on that a little bit? Because that's the idea of books in general. Everybody, like a 12-year-old girl will buy this, a 96-year-old grandma will buy this, anybody will buy this. Is there a target market? Do you have to be more focused on who you're selling to and know your audience?
One thing I've learned is that it's important to ask people if they read fiction before you start giving them a whole spiel about your book.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because a lot of people don't read fiction. A lot of people prefer to read nonfiction. They want to know what's going on in our world. They have specific interests they're doing research on. So first, I like to find out if someone likes to read fiction.
I confess, I do not like to read fiction.
I like to encourage people to read fiction.
I do not.
Especially in this day, though, because I
do, though.
I think fiction allows us more empathy because it puts us in the world of people we don't necessarily know and understand. And I think it helps us understand people we don't know.
I think that even like your books, I was reading, about your books and things, Mary, and it's like, it's kind of like a therapy in a way for people. It's like relatable. You're going through like, a divorce or, losing your job or some drama, and the characters go through the same thing, and you see like how they go through it and process it, and they end up, like doing better afterwards. It's kind of like you can relate to them, and I think that's what people like about the characters. And it's kind of like, that's why people like enjoy reading fiction books. Like I like reading fiction books, like they're like, these romance novels and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's fun, it's interesting, you can forget about things, and you feel like, it's just like you're a different place. It's like these characters are just so interesting, and like you can relate in ways and things. So I think that's what neat about, your books that you wrote. It's like, women everywhere can relate to them. I mean, even reading about the characters, like you have domestic abuse issues in one book and family problems in the other book. You have like neighbors have problems, and then like everybody comes together and just different things happening.
Yeah, those people behind us, the new book, is definitely about neighbors and people trying to come together that don't understand each other. It's set in the summer of 2017, and the neighborhood's increasingly divided by politics and protest and escalating housing prices. So there's
Sounds like Huntington Beach to me. Yes.
Yes, there's a lot of material in my city, and I'm very grateful for all the stories that I'm able to capture. But yeah, these neighbors though, they don't all agree. They're flying different flags. They have different opinions, but they are neighbors. And at the end, they realize that they have more in common than they expect.
And that's like what's happening now, in the U.S. and the whole world and things with politics. Did that kind of like encourage you to write your books too?
Well, especially the second book. I mean, during the pandemic, you're stuck at home watching CNN and thinking the world's going to end. And
yeah.
It was really nice to get out of the house and walk. And then you're kind of disturbed by what you see outside the house sometimes too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Huntington Beach has had more controversy than most cities here in Orange County.
We do, especially lately. Yeah.
Shout out, we did have Tony Strickland in here, the mayor of Huntington Beach. He certainly represents a group there that been very vocal and very active and pushing back on a lot of the things that they don't like happening, whether it's high density housing or other things here.
Yeah, and they won an election fair and square, and a lot of the decisions they're making I don't agree with. I really wish they would listen more to the residents and come and talk to them, but
Do we listen at all to each other, or are we just, that's why I'm going back to this idea of niches. Are there books that are just sold, we've had Christian authors that come in here, or other sorts of things, and I'm not trying to say anything about any category, except they're trying to reach the converted already. You're trying to reach people that are already in your echo chamber, that are already listening to, that believe what you believe, and so here's another support of that. Or sounds like your book, you're trying to get people to realize their commonality and to get outside of their isolated bubbles here.
Yeah, I think I did a pretty decent job of letting my characters express themselves, even though I don't agree with some of them. But yeah, you're right. Like
neat.
Books even need trigger warnings now. Like there's some contests you can enter that you have to say, no, there's some sex in this book, so I have to warn you that might turn the reader off, and maybe you shouldn't enter it.
Or it's
That's
just
crazy
for
for a book.
their books just everybody seems to be so excited. Their books just for gay and lesbians. There are just books for conservative Christians. There are just books for, I don't know. I'm those are broad categories. I'm just assuming there's really tiny little niche categories, people that only like, I don't know, I'm not even going to come up with something obscure, but something really narrowly focused genres. Is it becoming more atomized like that, more broken down into little
there's
categories?
definitely so many categories. I mean, because I've entered my book in a lot of contests, I have to figure out like
Okay.
which.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, my category is either general fiction or literary fiction. Women's
Okay.
fiction for the Lockhart women because it was definitely a woman's story. Yeah.
I could see like, moms reading your books, like those girls that don't work, and they just walk in a group and stuff like that. I feel like you should join those groups.
That walk
tell you
in a
what.
group. Those moms. Right?
Those moms, yeah. They're probably and my books are both available in audiobooks in case people, don't read
Yeah, wear the headphones
paper
and
books
listen.
anymore.
And how did you
Yeah.
make the audiobook? Did you record it yourself, or did your hybrid publisher provide a voice and
No, I had to figure that out myself. I did not record it myself. That's a lot of work. I don't think my voice is really strong enough.
we've done a couple audiobooks in our
nervous,
other
yeah.
parallel
Yeah.
studio. That's why I asked. They came to us, and wow, it was a lot more hours and effort than I thought it was going to be.
I also have a habit of moving around when I talk, and I know you have to sit still when you're
Yes,
doing
we
that.
told you that here. Yeah.
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 No, I had I went with Find a Way for my second book. I found a narrator through them, and then with my first book, they actually bought the rights for it, and they found a great narrator for the Lockhart women. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's the future for your books, Mary? Like, is there any characters that you're going to write more books about or any new novels going to happen?
Everyone wants a sequel to the Lockhart women. The mother, Brenda Lockhart, is quite the character, and everyone wants to know what she's going to do next. I'm not.
Nice. Yeah.
I don't have a definite plan to work on that right now. I am working on a third book. I can't tell you too much more about it, except that it's about some people that have some problems. It's my
Yeah.
favorite kind of
But
character.
that seems to be another popular thing. Once you find a character, then it becomes a series of books all with that character, that detective, or that
Yeah.
lead character, or
I
whatever.
actually really envy authors that can do that. You kind of have to know where your story is going from the beginning, right? If you're going to write 5 or 7 or 12, issues of a story, I think I admire that.
So
I don't really know where my characters are going until I'm almost
I
done.
mean,
Okay.
we live in Orange County here, and there's a couple huge of those mega authors like Dean Koontz
Dean Koontz, yeah.
that lives somewhere over in the harbor area and has some huge house and has now, as I understand it, I've never talked to him, an army of people that write in that style. He may have an overall direction to it, but his books, they crank them out so often,
Yeah.
he couldn't physically write them anymore. So he has people who write like him under whatever guidance and direction he gives them here.
Well, good for him,
Yeah.
And he's turned it into a franchise.
It's a
an empire.
franchise, yeah.
Yeah, or the Chicken
that's
Soup for
neat.
the Soul. That wasn't a
Yeah.
franchise. It wasn't a fiction book. But
Well, James Patterson. I mean, I go to my Huntington Beach Central Library. There's a whole wing of James Patterson books.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's incredible. I admire that. My first book took me 6 years to write. My second book took 3. Does that mean I'm getting faster? I don't know.
But yeah, to crank because it's a formula. They've got characters and a formula, and then they just follow that over and over.
Yeah.
They just have to put them in a different situation.
Yeah, I don't
different
write like
story.
that. I'm more character driven. I have to figure out the people, and then they start telling me what they're going to do, which I know sounds a little mystical, but it's true.
They talk to you.
They talk to me. They say, you
I
think I was going to run off with that man, but no, he's not my type.
Do you kind of like think of like what the readers would want to have happen?
No, maybe that would be a good marketing strategy, but no, I don't think about
So you're
that.
not writing
Yeah.
for a result. Gee, this is what they want to hear, so I'm going to write this.
No, I'm writing for a story that is going to surprise people and still be believable. That's
and to
my
surprise
goal.
them, it has to surprise
Nice.
you.
You have to surprise myself. Yeah.
Did you ever like take any class or anything to learn how to write a book, or you just did it?
No, I've taken a lot of classes. There's a lot of really good resources in Orange County. I highly recommend Irvine Valley College. They have a great creative writing program there. Lisa Alvarez is the professor there, and she's amazing. Chapman
that's
University, Richard Bosch is a wonderful short story writer and novelist, and he offers a free community forum every year that's incredibly generous. Takes about 15 to 20 people, and it's free, and you get to work with this wonderful novelists and other people that are trying to do the same thing you're doing.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really great. You know, they have that help out there for people like you, and that's, I mean, you have amazing books. I think there's going to be you know, a lot more sales going on, and your new book is going to be exciting. And what's your website again, Mary? So people can buy your books. Where can they find them online?
You can find them wherever you like to buy books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. My website is marycamarillo.com, Camarillo. There's also bookshop.org, which if you buy books from bookshop.org, part of the sales goes to support independent bookstores.
That's a great cause because they're under attack. You rattle off a couple of them. I only knew one or two of them. There aren't many left.
Yeah, and they're wonderful. I mean, they do great things for the community, and they're supportive to authors, and it's
definitely
a treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. And what kind of you know, advice do you have for anybody that wants to be an author, Mary?
Well, I think you have to be persistent. I think it's really important to hook up with other writers and start sharing your work and getting feedback. And then you have to come to the point where you have to trust your own voice and say, yeah, I can't write this book by a committee. I have to listen to what I think is right. Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to have a community of other authors and support them, write reviews, go and listen to them read, buy their books, because other authors are incredibly supportive. I've had so many authors that have written blurbs for me and shown up to my events and gotten me into the Orange County Register, and you know, it's a wonderful community. So you really have to kind of start finding yourself a part in it.
That's great. Yeah, it's definitely to have a good community, you know, and positive people around you that can really help you, you know, succeed in your book and, you know, help you write it and inspire you and things. So that's great, Mary. So, you know, definitely everybody make sure you buy Mary's book. You go on Amazon, you look up her book, The Lockhart Women and Those People Behind Us. You can go to Mary's website, marycamarillo.com, and make sure you, you know, buy her book, order her book, buy it for your friends, and, yeah, it's awesome.
And we have to explain that we forgot to change the graphic on the screen to the new show, so we're still touting our last show that we just did, the Let's Talk Real Estate. So everybody's going to say, why is that graphic up here? Oh, my goodness.
No,
there's
actually, it's
something real.
appropriate because, you know, the second book especially, there's a realtor in the book. So,
There you go.
yeah.
We knew that. We were trying to tie that in.
Yeah.
And it's about real people in our real county here, and which is all about the real world we live in, the real estate. It seems to be kind of specific to a region.
Yeah,
You're talking about people in your hometown here.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, but make sure you guys watch Real World of Sales with Ashley, not that.
You can watch all these shows together. So on Let's Talk Real Estate, we'll put Ashley's graphic up there, and
There you
go.
we'll cross promote shows here
We'll
on the
just put my
network.
book on the next one.
There you go.
All right. Thanks for joining us. And Ashley, how do they find your book? You have a book that you rarely talk about.
Yeah, it's been in the a work in process. We're gonna do some book signing soon, so we're gonna have an event here soon, guys. Make sure you stay tuned for that. We're gonna do book signing, and then I'm gonna have some other sites it's gonna be on where everybody can order it. And my book is called Ferocious Sales Skills. You can find it on Barnes & Noble, and then you know, you guys just listen to the show. Stay tuned because we're gonna have more updates about it for sure.
All right. Thanks.
Terrific.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Mary.
you.
Well, there you have it. Another reason to tune in each and every time to the Real World of Sales as we talk to real people doing really unusual things and how they support that, market that, and sell that, and bring their voices to the marketplace. Right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.